Hello, everybody. I'm Christian Lamitschka for Country Music News International, and today on the show we have Colene Walters. Colene, welcome to Country Music News International.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Colene, it's your first time here at Country Music News International, so can you please introduce yourself just a little bit more, what you're doing, and what brought you to country music?
All right. Well, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, and I moved to Nashville in 1990. And the first year that I was here, I was a demo singer for Sony and Warner Chappell. And about 2 years after being a demo singer, one of my cassettes, it's early 90s, one of my cassettes got around and caught the ear of Porter Wagoner from the Grand Ole Opry. So about 1993, to make a long story short, he hired me to become his partner at the Grand Ole Opry for several years, taking over the duet songs that him and Dolly Parton used to do. So I started doing that, which I loved, performed on the Opry every weekend as well as on the road. And I also worked with a great man called Johnny Russell. Now, Johnny Russell may not sound like a familiar name, but he wrote a lot of great songs. For instance, he wrote Act Naturally, that Buck Owens record. Yep. They're gonna put me in the movies. And he was real excited when Ringo Starr cut it, because a Beatle cut his song. And so he wrote a bunch of stuff, Making Plans, and he was a funny man, and you might know who he is, but a lot of people say, who is that? But he was a great man and a great part of country music. So I was very honored in the early 90s up into early 2000s performing with these two gentlemen. And in between all that, I was in vocal groups. At one time, I was in a vocal group called Capps, Walters, and Kay, which was myself, Colene Walters, LaDonna Capps, and Jolene Kay, which was a great group. And then I was in another trio called Girlfriend, which was myself, LaDonna Capps, and Nikki Nelson, the lead singer of Highway 101. So did a lot of vocal trios. Yep. In between working with Porter and all that. Yep. And then I also started a tribute to Patsy Cline, to where I also dress up like her, and I did a lot of research on her, and even met her late husband, Charlie Dick, to get some information on how Patsy's character was. Yep. So, and right now, for instance, this weekend, I am working with Highway 101. And just sporadically done a lot of different things over the years. And but I'm working, I'm sorry, not this weekend. February 14th, I'll be in Alabama to do my tribute to Patsy Cline with my friend Jimmy Parker, as well as my own songs. And then March 4th, I will be with Highway 101, opening for them at the Ernest Tubb Record Shop on Music Valley Drive in Nashville, Tennessee. So everything's kind of coming back full circle in that way. And yesterday I did a recording of an old Porter Wagoner song with a friend of mine. And for the show on March 4th, I'm doing a tribute to Porter Wagoner and Johnny Russell.
So it looks like you have a really busy schedule. But for our listeners and readers, is really interesting, I believe, the good stories from the Grand Ole Opry.
Ah, the good stories of the Grand Ole Opry. There's so many. Oh gosh, working with Porter Wagoner, being on stage with him, I remember the first time before I started singing the duets, I play harmonica also. Mm-hmm. So I was playing harmonica and I do percussion and all. And I remember seeing his rhinestone jacket and thinking, wow, how did I get here? Because I've always been a fan. And but one thing I have to say about Porter Wagoner, about his jackets, he said, Colene, if you ever want to know the best diet, buy yourself a $35,000 Manuel suit and you will not gain weight. But so yeah, working with him, Porter Wagoner, there's so many stories, but Porter Wagoner and little Jimmy Dickens, whom we all call Tater, who just passed away, they were best friends. And being a part of the Grand Ole Opry and being backstage, looking back at it now, it was like, wow, because I was so in it at the moment. I didn't realize how cool it was. But looking back at it now and watching some of the older videos and all, there was one time when Tater, little Jimmy Dickens, was not doing well. And golly, I think this was like 1998 or 1999. And I was in the dressing room with Porter and the band, and Jimmy was being taken off in a stretcher. And he was fine. He was he could talk, but he was having bad health problems at that time, and he wanted to see his friend Porter. So as I'm looking at the door right now, it was kind of like this room was the dressing room, and there was a knock at the door, and it was Tater, and Porter and I and a couple guys in the band walked out, and this is a moment that's special to me, but I'll try to paint the picture. Tater looked up at Porter like he was never going to see him again. And Porter, being the entertainer and the humble man that he is, that a lot of people don't know that part of him, I never saw a look on his face. I'm getting a little emotional. I never saw that look on his face like I have seen that moment when he looked at little Jimmy Dickens, because they both thought that was it. Because they were buddies. They were fishing buddies. They were best friends. Just the bestest of friends. And as they took Tater away, I remember seeing Porter in the dressing room, and we just thought, we were quiet. We didn't say anything, but just the look on his face. That's kind of a sad little memory, I guess. But it's beautiful at the same time. They're both passed on now. And as a matter of fact, I just posted a video of them doing some jokes on the Opry and just playing off each other just a few days ago. But golly, what else? I don't know if I should say this on camera, but...
feel free. We don't cut out.
Okay, good, because well, either way, we'll see. You don't cut out.
We don't cut out. We let it run.
Well, I'm just going to say it because this was pretty amazing. Oh, dear. I remember I said before the video, I hope I don't say anything stupid. But anyway, this is the real deal. This is just keeping it real. One of the first times I was doing a solo, because Porter, I got to go back a little bit. Porter said there's a song that Johnny Russell wrote, which is kind of a coincidence because I worked for him later, that he thinks I should sing, called Ain't You Even Gonna Cry. And I was so nervous. I always had Porter on my side, or just being with someone else, and the trios and the groups. And I have done solo work, of course, but on the Grand Ole Opry, singing a solo was a big deal to me. And it was that time of the month. So anyway, I was my back was hurting, and I was having some cramps. Are you sure you can't cut this?
No.
Okay.
It will go.
Hey, obviously I want to talk about it because it's such an amazing story to me. Billy Walker.
Yep.
He passed away several years ago in a terrible car accident. I knew he was a man of God, and I knew he had a good connection, and I was so nervous and had these cramps and this back pain, and I said, Billy, I'm getting ready to go sing my solo for the first time. Will you pray for me? Because I have... And before I could finish my sentence, he laid his hands on me and said, Lord, please take away the cramps from this woman before she goes to sing in the Grand Ole Opry. Da-da. So everybody backstage is watching this, wondering, why is he doing this to her anyway? It was my first time, and he took the cramps away, and I sang for the first time.
Cool. So, Colene, what can we expect to see from you in the future?
Like I said, right now I'm doing a tribute to Porter and Johnny. I am writing a little. That's one of my weaknesses, is writing. I do have a lot to say. I just have to, obviously, I just have to get it out on paper. And just doing shows, being a grandma, and living life, and keeping the real country music tradition going.
So when fans like to keep up to date now with you, what's the best way?
The best way is I like to communicate on Facebook. I just signed up for Instagram. I have no idea what to do with that yet. And I do have a website, ColeneWaltersMusic.com. And I love talking to people. I love when people come across old music of mine and want to chit-chat. So I like the one-on-one personal talking. So I would say Facebook, because I can communicate that way.
Okay. Folks, so you know what to do if you want to keep up to date with her, or stay here with us on Country Music News International, where we keep you up to date with her, about her, with the latest news. Have a good one. I'm Christian Lamitschka.